This came about as the Legal Affairs Minister fired back at the body for criticizing the draft State Assets Recovery Bill 2016. When the National Assembly comes out of recess, among the gamut of bills to be tabled in the House is the State Assets Recovery Bill 2016. The Ministry of Legal Affairs had conducted at least 2 rounds of consultations on the draft bill and engaged the expertise of a British legal consultant, among others, on the drafting of the bill. However, just last week, the Private Sector Commission came out saying that the draft State Assets Recovery Bill 2016 is deeply flawed and inconsistent with many of the fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution of Guyana. The PSC also said it has obtained legal representation and will be making known its objections to the SARA Bill 2016 to the Attorney General and to members of the legislature. On Wednesday, Attorney General Bassel Williams called on the private sector to stop playing politics. He went further explaining that the bill is not a fly-by-night one.
The SARA Bill, that is driven by SARU, the department headed by Dr. Clive Thomas. And they are working in conjunction with the World Bank and the United Nations on drafting SARU. And let me say this again. The provisions in SARU are not pulled out from somebody's back pocket.
The Attorney General added that the PSC was specifically invited to the consultations held.
We are using taxpayers' money to hold these consultations. When we weren't holding consultations, they made a lot of noise. Now we're holding constitutions, they're not going and they're not attending.
From the Attorney General's perspective, there is no immediacy to meet with the PSC. He recommends that the PSC carry their fears of the SARA Bill to the State Assets Recovery Unit. The Minister also wants the PSC to stop disrespecting the Guyanese people.
PSC says that it believes the SARA Bill is premature and redundant, since many of the intelligence gathering mechanisms have already been enacted in the anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism legislation.
So SARA Bill is about intelligence gathering?
What they're saying is that they feel the bill is redundant since they're already...
Well, so they feel that the International Convention Against Corruption is redundant? We have news to them. This government intends to root out corruption. So they should be afraid. Perhaps there might be a good reason for them to stay out of government office. Because this practice of extracting private wealth from state assets, which was practiced by the last regime, must be addressed.
The PSC has stated that the bill has been drafted from the perspective that the government of Guyana does not know what it owns or what the state has lost over the years. It feels too that the bill is not a good signal to investors who will require access to state resources such as land, licenses, access rights, among others. The PSC thinks the bill provides opportunities for legitimate investors to be harassed and politically victimized. Handel Duncan, HGP Nightly News.